Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. I'm your boy Double, joined by my new host here today, Adam. Welcome to the podcast, my man.
What's good, party people, man? We're going to review the NWA pay-per-view, better known as, I don't know what the hell it was. Our Shadows Fall, When Shadows Fall, Shadows Fall, the punk band of the early 2000s. I couldn't get it right. Apparently, the announcers couldn't get it right. But I love, let's
Announcers,
not even talk.
commentators, no one.
Yeah. I mean, let's start. I love the intro package. I'm a big fan of like Carney and wrestling, like Harley Race being probably the last kind of outlaw in terms of, Carney wrestlers turned professional wrestlers as we know it
Mm-hmm.
now. So I love it. It harkens back to the roots of what we know as pro wrestling sports entertainment. But again, you had all of that, but also you had the name. I don't know why. Like that doesn't our shadows fall when our shadow. It doesn't sound very carny, and it seemed so. There was a little bit of
I
a
didn't get it.
disconnect there,
Like,
right?
I think that was some Billy Corgan shit. It was. I mean, honestly, man. You and I were talking about this pay per view, and okay. So first, let me start by saying this. It starts at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. That's weird. Like you and I were talking, and I logged in. I'm like, oh shit, the first match is already started.
Hmm.
It was crazy. I mean, I will say that from the very first, it was like it was crazy. I mean, that match at the end versus La Rebellion versus Slice Boogie and Marche Rocket. All and Ro and Ru- they were in there. It was a fatal four-way tag team match. I guess like the winners could have shoved the tag championship somewhere down the line. So you got like 8 guys, and there's always a clusterfuck when there's so many guys. But the 8 guys, I mean, Rudo and Wolf started off, and these are two big dudes. So they do like a collar and elbow tie up, and it's like a, side headlock, and then he whips him across the ring, and then he shoulder tackles. So basically, big guy start. A lot of the crazy shit happened. Um, the Mecha Wolf, Mecha Wolf from AAA, and him and La Bestia, 666, they totally outclassed every person in this match. And
Yeah.
the Saul Ronaldo guy, shut up comedy.
Oh my
Shut up
gosh.
comedy.
So there was like parodies, right? Like the two big
Mm-hmm.
guys, they were like a poor man's ascension, right? The
That's what
one
I was
guy,
thinking.
yeah, the one guy having the blood, like I guess it was blood, right? They look like a mix of, you know, the Ascension cosplaying as the Viking Raiders, right? And
It was a
this
Viking.
guy, yeah, the Vikings, the vacation. They were the vacation. That's
And
what I'm
there it
trying to go
is.
about. All right, but the one guy tries to look like intimidating with like blood in his mouth, but also he was spraying whatever the hell blood in his mouth. So I don't know why.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then the other dude, you know, also looked like a bearer of the LBGTQ kind of community. Happy Pride Month, everyone who celebrates.
It's probably my
Um,
buddy.
right, but also looked like a buff version of Bert Kreischer, the comedian, the machine, Bert
Oh
Kreischer.
my god, you're right.
Yes, and maybe that's an AEW tie-in, right? Because Cody is on that
Yeah.
show on TBS with Bert Kreischer as the
What's it
host.
called? Go big or go home.
Yeah, go big or go home. And again, it is go big or go home because this gentleman looked like he ate Bert Kreischer, so he went big.
Yeah, I mean, and it was crazy. I mean, Shay Rocket, this dude has been getting up there. People are starting to like know the guy, take a name for himself, and like him and Labestia did a lot of cool spots. But that somersault plancha, the finish, it was like an enziguri to a somersault plancha. Uh, Labestia and Mecha Wolf hit that finisher. Awesome. They won the match. Good match. At the end, the fake ascension, the Viking, the leaders of the ascension. What would you call them? Vacations? The vacationers?
Yeah, the vacations. Yep, absolutely. Not the
Yeah,
Chevy Chase
those
kind
guys.
though.
They face
Holiday
to
Road.
face. Yeah, exactly. They went face to face, and I guess they're actually going to feuding, which I don't understand why, but it's just not for me to understand. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the first match was Rebellion Amarilla. I don't know if I can say it, but I will say this: the second match, what really caught my attention, and it caught my
Well,
attention because it was the
oh no, I was gonna
it
say.
was a non.
I mean, in terms of before we move on, Salvador, right? He kind of reminds me of Rich Swann, where he looks
Oh
like
my
he jumped
god,
out of the trash can. He looks like
he
he,
was wearing some Mega Powers pants.
but also like a half Lenny Lane circa WCW
Yes. Did you see
2001. It was
on the
trash. It
back of
was.
his tights it said Mega Pals?
I don't know why
And then
he's
I
trying to
know
get that over.
thing. I don't know, but they did the whole Macho Man thing. And he just slapped his partner. Then he picked him up and he fucking powerbombs him over the top rope. His partner, Rudo, powerbombs him over the top rope into the to the group of people. It was hilarious.
I
And
don't
like all
like
three
that
people in the
spot.
building laughed.
Yeah, I don't like
I
that
mean,
spot, especially
it's a
after what.
ridiculous spot.
Well, especially like I cringe a little bit with the turnbuckle, the kind of advanced like current day, wrestling fucking turntable spots because it's not just Irish whipping your opponent to the corner, but like you have to do some like almost a decapitation. There's the one where it's literally a curb stomp to the fucking turnbuckle. There's this spot where it was literally a reverse decapitation,
That's so
like you would
dangerous, dude.
decapitate some. You decapitating somebody from the fucking back of the neck, whatever. Like it was just weird, and I can't remember who landed wrong, but it was like the person that was on the right side of the screen because they did it on the left and the right side of the screen. The person that was on the right side of the screen again, it looked like a
I
backwards
think it was
decapitation.
Rocket's tag team.
Right? Was it? Was
Oh,
it?
Obsidian or whatever.
Was, was it Slice Boogie?
I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it was Slice Boogie. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't look good in terms of optics, and I know, Slice will
Oh
probably.
yeah. Okay, so it was Slice Boogie. He did it on the third turnbuckle.
Yeah,
It was Mecha Wolf that did it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're
yeah,
right. You're right. It was
yeah.
ridiculous, man. It was dangerous. The whole match to me was like one big clusterfuck even until the finish. But it is what it is. That match was over. But the Lucha Libre won, which is a good thing. Um, so the second match was a non-title match, and apparently because the Pope because Tyrus beat the Pope. No, the Pope beat him in a match already. He wasn't going to give him a title shot, but the Pope like great like we talked about earlier before we came on the air. The Pope is a great promo man.
Yes, he
Give that
is.
man a mic. He's a great promo.
He's over too. Like all these years, his given name Elijah Burke, basically debuting in WWE TV as the talking head to one Sylvester Turkai, and then going into TNA and doing the Pope gimmick of D'Angelo De Niro. I'm not saying that being a TV champion, isn't prominent, in the, of the NBA, of the NWA and the prominence of pro wrestling or whatever. But like, this is a guy that is so talented. So, like, he could work on top anywhere. Like, I could see him going to New
Yeah,
Japan and doing some shit with, Okada and Tanahashi. I could see him working with Roman Reigns and whatever, and yes, he is in his mid 40s, but fuck, man, he is money. I mean, but that kind of plays into his Pope D'Angelo Dinero. Now the Pope, just kind of shortening it to the
That's
Pope,
right.
but he's
Angel
great.
Dinero. That's what it was.
Yes.
A friend of mine, my partner, very good friend of mine, the one and only Church's Money, just debuted for NWA Power, and he's at the pay per view. And we were talking earlier today before the pay per view started, and he said to me that, and I don't want to misquote him because I don't want to ever be that guy. So let me pull the quote that he said to me. Sign if they ask me because the money is good. I said, yeah. He says there are no assholes in the locker room. Literally everyone is fucking. And I was like, okay. He said, dude, there are no scripts, just bullet points, no hang-ups. You can be you. It's encouraged. It's encouraged to trust yourself, trust your instinct, to your instincts, and to try shit. They love it. This is the first time I've heard some serious praise like that. And
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this podcast, you're watching it on Wednesday night, the Roundtable Pro Podcast presents the NWA Power Hour. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Black Cheese live in the studio. And he's going to talk about this pay per view and everything in NWA Power. But man, it's cool as fuck to be able to just go to a company and be yourself.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
the
Like get over
for
by being yourself.
yeah, and for an artist, right? And that's it. Even as you are a worker, 9 to 5, or a retail worker, whatever job that you do, whatever art that you do, whatever hobby that you do, right? To
Mm-hmm.
basically just be given the carte blanche to go ahead and create as you see fit, right? That's what they say. You have to live your gimmick. That was the credo of one Vince McMahon. He wanted the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, to be the $1 million man, and took cuts off of the house so Ted could roll around and live the lifestyle. Ric Flair, one of the reasons why people like Ric Flair is he lives the gimmick, right? So to be able
Mm-hmm.
to live your gimmick and know your gimmick, and it's something that you have cultivated on your own, the way that your gear looks, the way that you present yourself on screen, and furthering storyline, making having the freedom to pitch an idea and it actually be listened to and accepted. That's
Right.
got to be so fulfilling as a
It's gonna
as a
be
talent,
peaceful, man. That's gonna be like amazing.
as an artist. That's what you need.
Yeah. It's like you. You're a podcaster. You're a professional podcaster. You do MMA. As a matter of fact, you just got off of MMA, a UFC podcast with Voodoo in the Woods. Shout out to the Voodoo in the Woods crew, Adam Woods right here. Um,
Hmm.
like honestly, man, like just the simple fact that you have no, like, people love this podcast because we have no restrictions, no handcuffs. We can say and do as we please. And the reason why we have that freedom is because the fans, people love the creativity. People love it when you're you.
Hmm.
When I first became a professional wrestler, I didn't know um, what I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to get there. So
Right.
when I was first in business, someone asked me, "Do you want to go to the WWE?" I'm sorry, at the time it was the WWF. Or where would you rather go, the WWF or the NWA? And I said, well, I don't want to be a cartoon character or an ice cream bar. I want to be a wrestler. So as you can see behind me, all these NWA championships, except for Big Red right here, the new OIWA North American Championship. Um, like you can see, like these are titles that are won by a man, not a cartoon character. And you go to WWE right now, you got guys like the Boogeyman, the Repo Man, Doink the Clown, Bash and like shit like
Booger.
that.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash is 7 feet tall. He's actually 6'10" or 6'11", but they had him as Diesel. They had Scott Hall come in, a white man from Minneapolis, Minnesota, portray himself to be a Cuban from Miami and call himself Reza Ramon. Oye Chico. Like he knew four things in Spanish. You know, but Vince McMahon has always been like that. There was a rumor that the WWE was going to try to work with New Japan, bring New Japan wrestlers to WWE. I can just imagine, they bring a WWE guy in. I mean, a New Japan guy in, and all of a sudden he's talking about choppy choppy a PP, and you know,
I
it's ridiculous, man.
I saw a meme, right? That it was like, you remember the "Don't forget Big Sexy"? Yep, I'm too
Yeah.
sweet. No, but there was a meme. You know that like the kid getting whooped by their mama, and they have like the cross, and they're like, "Please, Jesus, don't hit me
Mommy,
more," or
no.
whatever. Yeah, mommy, no, right? Yeah, that's it, right? But it was like Nakamura, like, "Hey, Shinsuke, tell the New Japan, tell how well we treat you," and he's like that.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Oh yeah.
just saying, ask Okada how well he did in TNA. Like it's
Oh
just,
my god. Yeah. Exactly. You
yeah.
know,
So
but
that
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. But let's talk about the second match though, because like it was a non-title match, the Pope versus Tyrus, formerly of the WWE as, fuck, what was his
Brodus
gimmick?
Clay, Brodus
Brodus
Clay.
Clay. Brodus Clay. The Tyrus is actually a advocate, man. Like he's been on like Fox News and like he's a very intelligent guy, and he's teaming up with I like to call him the poor man's Ric Flair, Austin Idol.
Hey, you know what? Austin Idol.
The
You
'70s
you
call. They want their gimmick
here's
back.
it's fine. You know what? That first incarnation of like the NWA under Billy Corgan's leadership, the little infomercials that they used to play with Austin Idol,
Okay, some of those are
you know,
funny.
those are funny as shit. Also, you go back to the Mid South territory, and Jerry Lawler, like, along with, Jimmy Boogie Woogie Man Valiant, Austin Idol was probably one of the only ones that weren't Bill Dundee, superstar Bill Dundee, and the
Yeah,
King Jerry Lawler to draw money in Memphis consistently. So, I
yeah,
mean, uh, Austin Idol still looks like the universal heartthrob. Yes, it is of 1972 and shit like that. You might lose if you ride with Austin Idol. You might put your fucking car keys in a bowl and then end up with another spouse or whatever the fuck. But yeah,
yeah.
well, you might a fondue pot getting stuck somewhere and whatever, cleaning out of crevices.
Old
But
carny shit.
yeah, but I digress. I love him here. Again, we talked about the Pope and his promo ability and his work rate. Amazing. I don't know what the fuck. Tyrus, George Murdoch is a good promo. I don't know what the fuck he was saying here and talking about a charity and it was
Okay,
weird.
so the whole gimmick with the charity, and Kevin, yes, my knee is feeling just a little bit better. I go see the ortho tomorrow, by the way. Um, the whole gimmick was Tyrus is wearing this shirt, and everyone knows like, the Pope is very big on charity work, and he's been working with this charity for like 20 years. So they were bringing real life stuff into the gimmick.
Okay.
And as much as I talked about Austin Idol being, his work rate as a wrestler, he is a great mouthpiece. He's a great promo
Yes, he
too.
is.
And they put him with Tyrus because Tyrus fucking sucks. Tyrus pick up a mic and he's horrible on the mic. So thank God for Austin Idol. But I think that Austin might have been drunk tonight because I didn't understand anything he fucking said either. But it was weird. And right from the gate, like as soon as the bell, like even before the bell rung, Pope just charged him and started beating the piss out of him, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like Pope was like you because he's wearing the Pope's like t-shirts and he was claiming that it was his charity, you know. So Pope got pissed. Pope ran up and just started raining haymakers on him, just stomping him in the chest. And Tyrus bumped outside. He had the referee, stop Pope so Pope couldn't come out. And he came back in and beat up Pope a little bit better, And I mean, I guess like it was a way to like soften up Pope's ribs because Pope was supposedly had injured himself earlier on, and it was just Tyrus took over, DDT'd him a couple of times, and hit the tongue and death grip on him, and like he almost got like a 2 count out of it. And Tyrus stomped the shit out of him for a minute, but the thing that really screwed me over, that kind of messed with my head, and I'm pretty sure you saw this, dude. The referees tonight were stupid.
Yeah, you know what? It was funny because one of them, the one with like the weird ponytail, I
Yeah.
almost thought it was either it almost reminded me of Pretty Peter Avalon
Oh
of
my god, I thought it
AEW.
was him too for 5 minutes.
Right. And with the mask, I was like, oh, maybe he's getting another,
I was like, is
paycheck
this?
and whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, he doesn't want Tony Khan to know he's getting his $50.
Yeah, and not just that, but I mean, it could have also been, a very short version of our good friend over at the Wrestling Chatter on YouTube, but one George Hermosa.
George Hermosa.
It could have been George Hermosa, just like shrunk or what have you.
Drunk.
But yeah, it was. I don't know if there was. I couldn't determine who had worse referees. The NWA when Shadows Fall Collide, whatever the fuck, or UFC. Jarzina Rosenstrike or and Augustus Sakai, because I think they were going to the same referee school
Yeah,
or
they learn how
whatever
to
the
count
fuck.
the same base. One,
I
two,
swear to God,
17.
yeah, they missed that day on Sesame Street, motherfuckers. I'm just
Man,
saying.
I don't know. But the brass knuckles came into play, and brass knuckles got the pin. 1, 2, 3. Now he has beaten the television champion, so he probably will be getting a title shot. But the thing that got me was the referee looked literally right at fucking
Yes.
Austin Idol within his hand. Austin was like, "Look, you see this in my hand? It's brass knuckles. Look,
Hmm.
ref." And then he threw it, and the ref was like, "Duh, what happened? I don't know." Like, what the fuck, dude? By the way, that's my Reese's cups. Reese's
Yes, I'm.
cups,
I'm literally grabbing a Reese's from the franchise player Bad Blood because I have a sweet
man.
tooth and it's usually with chocolate and peanut butter together.
Hey, it says share pack, so I'm trying to share because sharing is
Yeah,
caring.
sharing is caring. Ah, thank you.
Get
Good,
it in, my man.
yummy.
Get it in. All right,
Chickens.
so look. So the second match. Now this match had me a little confused. It was a women's tag team match. I fucking love watching the women wrestle because they're getting their due. At least some of them were.
Yeah, this one was Thunder Rosa and Melina versus the returning Kylie Ray and returning Taryn Tyrell. For those who don't know, I'm sure you know, right? So, Thunder Rosa, had competed in both Combate Americas, the MMA promotion, and AEW, right?
Hmm.
So,
And
as
she's a
well
former
as
NWA Women's Champion.
right, absolutely. And then Melina is back with the NWA because she got signed because they're like, hey, let's hire Morrison's wife, and they forgot that Morrison has a wife, not the fiance, and whatever. So she's back with the NWA. I don't know by choice or what have you, but she's back here, right? And then you've got Kylie Ray. This one was interesting to me because Kylie Ray left kind of, citing mental illness and
Yeah.
what have you. And
Like
that's a
all of a
big,
sudden.
right. And she was, doing big things. She had appeared in both, in the same calendar year, AEW as well as Impact Wrestling, Bright Future. And she's younger. And theoretically speaking, the WWE might have wanted to, bring her down to a certain performance center in Winter Park, Florida. I'm just reading the tea leaves there, right? But with that being said,
Spilling
somebody
some
that
tea,
had
man.
right, somebody that and the fact that you know Kylie said, the negative, there was negative connotations, in pro wrestling that made her leave right before the
Let's just
pandemic
call
and
it what it
rebound.
is, man. Let's call it what it is. People are really rude in this industry sometimes, and they say things that are really hurtful. And this girl got her feelings hurt really bad. And and as someone who's been in this business for as of the 16th of this month, 29 years. Oh my god, I'm fucking old. But like seriously, like all the things that I've seen in this industry, the whole speaking out movement, was like totally changed the way people look at the industry. And she was a person involved in that situation in a negative way. Like someone did something really, really horrible to her when she signed to AEW, and and I'm gonna say it, and people always in our group, one of our groups, someone is like diehard fucking WWE up there, like just drinking all the fucking WWE Kool-Aid, and he's an AEW hater for life, but watches every AEW program and every fucking thing, taking pictures of TNT Studios and all that other crazy shit, just to shit on the product. Like, that's a fan in my book, someone that's going to be, stalking a company. But
Hey, quote the Raven Nevermore is what I say.
that's right. That's right. It's darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. But anyway, I digress. Thinking about the situation, AEW really dropped the ball with Kylie Ray.
Hmm.
I mean, the person that was breaking down the walls, so to speak, the Ayatollah of rock and roll, making sexually explicit overtures and comments allegedly. I wasn't there. Caused her to leave AEW,
Hmm.
and then she debuted in Impact Wrestling, and she was there for like 3 cups of coffee in a Jolly Rancher. Then boom, she dipped.
Yeah, which is
You
a
know,
weird, crazy combination on the stomach. The 3 cups of
yeah,
coffee and a Jolly Rancher. Wouldn't
baby,
recommend that to
you should.
anyone, but again, that's why you're not the franchise player, Brad.
That's
But
right.
only
That's why you have a
this
bunch of
man
Reese's
is.
peanut butter cups
Only
here.
that's this guy right here, and then also Taryn Tyrell, right? Which the former. I mean, was she the member? No, God, it was Brooke Adams that was a part of the Extreme Expose with Layla
Yeah,
and
but Terrence Terrell just made her return to wrestling after like 10 years, and she went back to Impact Wrestling. So to see her at NWA was crazy.
yeah, but she worked hard, right? I mean, I don't think she's got the wherewithal to be like a Trish Stratus type or what have you. But you got to think about these kind of diva search, and Terrence Terrell was of that diva search, John
Mhm.
Laurinaitis kind of deal, and that's how she
People
came in. Not
power.
Yeah, absolutely. Came into not only the WWE but wrestling in general. She had a phenomenal run in Impact Wrestling or TNA,
Mhm.
whatever they were calling it at the time.
She was a teenage women's champion one time, right?
Yes, absolutely, multiple time. She did a hardcore match, I think at Irvine, here in Southern
Oh
California,
yeah, that's
which
right.
is
It was hard justice.
Hard Justice. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
incredible. So I'm not taking the steam off of Taryn Tyrell, and I much rather hear her. I mean, her here, and I'm not taking shade, but like Lacey Von Erich, somebody who's also come back to the wrestling kind of deal,
Yeah,
and it's I
but
love the
I tell
Lacey,
you,
but just
I am
stop,
not to throw
just
some shade. I'm about to. So,
oh,
ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and get your cups ready. I'm about to spill all this fucking tea. This match, in my opinion, was not up to par for any women's wrestling at all. Melina and Thunder Rosa are fucking amazing women. Melina's a fucking legend. I've known Melina since she was Kira at EWF, and Jesse Hernandez out there fucking was in Covina at the Knights of Columbus. Back in the day, like when she first started out, she was good then. She went all through the WWE Eminem gimmick. She was like a Divas champion, women's champion. She done it all. Like, and she's so modest and she's so like down to earth. It's fucking awesome. The fact that her and the former NWA woman Thunder Rosa wrestled Kylie Ray and Taryn Terrell in a match that was so sloppy. It was horrible. Like arm drag spots, sloppy, sloppy. I mean, and then like you don't even know who the face or the heel was in this match because Thunder Rosa is kind of a heel. Melina has always been kind of a heel, even though she's so sweet and she's so gentle and she's so nice. She plays a really good heel. Now, Kylie Ray, obviously, white meat baby face. Terrence Terrell came in dressed like a fucking butterfly.
yeah.
And even the announcer, Velvet Guy, was like, I don't know why she's wearing that. What is she wearing? Is she cosplaying as a butterfly or a moth? Like, I don't know. Like it was ridiculous. Like the commentary was like it threw me off because I'm like, is she putting the gimmick over or is she shitting on the gimmick? I don't know. But like it, Kylie Ray took a lot of abuse. Like she took the ass whooping of a lifetime. Which 9 times out of 10 you see the face do, and you get the hot comeback. Her partner was like a heel the whole time. Like Terrence Terrell was like a heel. It was
Yeah,
strange.
yeah, I don't know. And I might have even think, sometimes you can have good names and you work really hard and the chemistry is just off. I think this was exactly it. If maybe Thunder Rosa and Melina worked together, the amount of veterans that there were. If you're talking like a Melina, right? In this particular instance, Taryn Terrell is a veteran, right? But also the Bellas are WWE Hall of Famers, right? So,
Yeah, we're not
you
gonna go
know,
down that road.
yeah. So there's it's just what it is, right? So, I think the lack of general womanship was it was a glaring it was a glaring deal here. So I don't know, and I'm not blaming anybody. I just think they didn't have chemistry.
I will tell
There's
you
way
though,
too.
there were some like Thunder Rosa, one of the most hard hitting women in the industry right now.
Yeah.
She gave these overhand chops. Oh my god, she was killing Kylie Ray. She put her head on the turnbuckle and just started bashing her on the back, dude. And I mean, Jesus Christ, it was crazy. It was
Hmm.
crazy,
Yeah.
and
So
it was crazy. The finish was ridiculous too. Like Thunder Rosa, like okay, so Taryn Terrell takes the bump to the floor. Like Melina gave her really sloppy hair, like a peel throw, like really weird by her hair, and she just laid sideways and rolled out of the ring. Like she didn't even bump; she just laid down and rolled out of the ring. It was weird. Um, and then Rosa slides out of the ring and she grabs Taryn Terrell off the apron, and she picks her up like she's gonna give her like a spine buster into the ring post, and she just holds her and then she fucking runs to the back with her.
yeah.
And
I
even the
don't.
announcer were like, "What's going on? Where are they going?" And Kylie Ray gets a schoolgirl roll up and she pins Melina 1, 2, 3 with a handful of tights. So I mean, I don't know if I saw a double turn, like was the heels now the faces and the faces now the heels. Like I'm so confused.
Yeah. It's you don't want to say anything bad because they did work hard. It just again when things don't click, they don't click, and it just I kind of hate it here. But it's a win for Kylie Ray and Taryn Terrell. Even with their heel kind of like tendencies, I like it. Just feels like a gray area, just gray area. But at a time where you need to, as you're trying to reestablish the NWA, that has been Billy Corgan's kind of magnum opus since he took the reins of the company, right? And then reintroducing the brand after a long hiatus that was COVID and kind
Hmm.
of like unkind things that were happening in the production department, the
Yeah.
1B to Billy Corgan. So here's a time where you need to get people engaged. Like NWA needs like solid heels, solid faces, because that's what you got, in the very era that they're trying to replicate.
And like the NWA, I mean, as a former NWA guy, NWA has always been about history and tradition and respect. They've always been about like branding and always been about like top tier guys getting the push they deserve. Like this next match, Fred Rosser, formerly of the WWE, took on JTG,
Formerly
formerly
of
of
the
the
W.
WWE.
Yeah,
And
this is the match of the night, isn't it?
to me, I mean, I think so. And I'm gonna tell you, this was the Shad Gaspard match of the night. They both friends with Shad. Shad's been gone a year. JTG came into this match being Shad's former tag team partner, best friend, brother, so to speak. And you can see like there was an intensity in his eyes, man, and this was like his coming out moment. I mean, no pun intended. Um, but it was his coming out moment as a singles guy here at the NBA. It was his debut. I mean, he debuted live on pay per view against Fred Rosser, a guy he helped out in the WWE. And I've always wanted to see the primetime players versus Shad and JT. So
Yeah.
this was, and even the commentary was like, yeah, this is their match, and you can tell they were doing it for Shad. and it was a hard hitting, like no muss, no fuss. Like these guys, I mean, the feeling out process after the bell, you can see it, man. It was like they matched move for move. Like my notes, I wrote some notes down while I was watching the match. One of the main focuses of the notes were these guys are so technically sound. The way they're working with each other, it was excellent.
Yes, and again, especially after this recent rash of releases, right? That kind of befell the talent, now former talent of the WWE. It just shows, right? Anybody that says like, "Oh, you guys are just hiring former WWE guys or girls or what have you," but
We know that
here,
guy.
right? But there are many of that guy, right?
Hmm.
These are two people that still have a lot left in the tank, and you look at their presentations like outside of the WWF, and you kind of have to go like, why they were there for so long and they never got their just due, and yes, they might be a little bit older and what have you, but talent like Fred Rosser, again, as you mentioned, I love how Joe Galli in the commentary, they basically said this is the closest thing to a crime time versus a prime time players.
Hmm.
They couldn't say players, but matches you're gonna get,
Yeah.
and it was just absolutely phenomenal. And if this was both men's kind of ode to Shad, I like to think that Shad would be absolutely proud. This was a beautiful match. I think, not to disparage any other of the talent on this card, but this match, it was short and sweet, technically sound. But if you like wrestling, this is a masterclass and every bit worth that 1999 price point on Fight TV.
And at the end of the match, they shook hands, and you can see Fred Rosser was like really disappointed he lost. He sat on the ground, he looked up, and JTG looked at him and pulled him up, and they shook, and then they walked off. And in the beginning of the match, they did the same thing. They shook, and you can see the intensity. There was a couple botch spots, like there was a
Yeah,
spot where Fred Rosser gave JTG a fucking um, like a side headlock, and he fucking went to pull him to the neck. He went to like slam him to the mat, and he fucking hit his head. And I was like, oh my god, it's
yeah,
broken. Like it was bad. And there was a spot um where JTG got his face dropped on the first turnbuckle pad. You can see that was a mistake too.
yes,
But for the most part, the calf kick. Okay, so when he had him in a like a he tried to get him in like a shit, like a God, I can't think of what it's called right now. Look at me, the wrestler on the podcast, can't think of a wrestling move.
like
Um, the
what
body,
was
the
it?
back body, the backslide. There it is, the fucking backslide. And JTG reversed it, and he started kicking him in the fucking shins, like to get him up. I was like, wow, that is imaginative. Like I would have never thought to
Yes,
do that.
yeah, and again, in a sport and entertainment value that is at least 100 years old, along with boxing, the reason why major TV stations to this day survived via the advent of radio, via the advent of
Hmm.
TV, was wrestling and boxing. But for whatever reason, wrestling gets thrown by the wayside, right?
Yeah.
But this match, right? This is exactly it. Yeah, of course, there's going to be botches and what have you, but this is pro wrestling in 2021. The presentation of it, I just, again, I can't say too like how much I love this. It's just, it's amazing. And even those foo bars that did happen, they, not to say that they went sight unseen because obviously we're talking about it, but
Hmm.
again, they left their souls. You knew everything that you needed to know about Fred Rosser as well as JTG in this particular matchup. I love the presentation where especially during Pride Month, an openly gay professional wrestler of man of color can really block out the hate. JTG wearing the short time and short tights. We saw glimmers of it towards the end of his run on in the WWE, but it was too little, too late. I don't think they saw anything with him, but and he the For the Culture, that GCW show during this past WrestleMania weekend, we saw it. Again, two just phenomenal, like, human beings, wrestlers. This is their love letter to the professional wrestling industry, and guess what? Sign, see, deliver. It's ours.
That's right, man. It was, man. Like as I was watching that match, all I could think about was, man, this is for Shad. This is so for Shad. He's fucking loving shit. He's loving every fucking spot they're doing. And JTG looked up at the sky and he gave it all to Shad in the beginning and at the end, same thing. So kudos to those guys, man. Um, it was like I said, I can't fucking say enough. I can't say
Yeah.
enough, man. It was great.
No, 1000%. So, I guess we're going to talk about that NWA World Tag Team match,
Oh
right?
God,
We had the defending champions of Aaron Stevens and J.R. Kratos versus the War Kings, singularly Crimson and Jack Stain,
I got a
against
lot to
the
say about Jack Stain.
right against
Over
the
fucking, everyone's like Jack Stain is like the best thing in since sliced bread. That dude is overhyped. I'm just gonna say it right here. I said it live on the podcast. Jack Stain is overhyped.
yeah, but they're going against the NWA National Champion Chris Adonis, formerly Chris
No,
Masters.
no, no. He's no longer the national champion.
Oh, it says it here.
No, Chris
They
Adonis. Chris Adonis had to. He had to give up the national title to go for the world tag team title. I see. It was weird. It was just a weird situation, man. The NBA storylines are weird. I don't understand. If
Why
I'm
would you give up?
like I'm the North American champion for the OIWA. If I want to go after the international championship, guess what? I can still hold my North American title and go after the NWA, the national title, the international title. Why not? It happens all the time in wrestling. Look, Okada. I mean, look. What's his name? They used to be the
Night
IWGP World Champion.
Naito.
No, 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 no. What's his name? They just dropped the belts. He was just the
Um,
world champion, and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay was the world champion and the intercontinental champion. And now that he's no longer the world champion, now their belts are separated again. But
yeah,
still, that was two championships. You know what I'm saying? I was the NWA Continental Heavyweight Champion and the NWA Pacific Northwest Champion at the same time. I was the NWA Heritage Champion and NWA Pacific Northwest Champion at the same time. So that doesn't mean anything. So
right.
why would the NWA force him to give up the title? And those were NWA titles too, which is I don't understand. But
Yeah, and
such
ideologically
is life.
speaking, right, ideologically speaking, right, we are at a time of, we're coming out of COVID. A lot of people lost their livelihoods and what have you. Why would you give up your single championship,
Right?
right, which, theoretically speaking, would garner you more zeros
Money.
on paycheck, right, to go for a tag team, whatever, and split your costs, I mean, split your profit in half. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. I just don't understand. And like I said, it's some weird shit, man. But the match is even weirder. Even
Yes, it
weirder.
was.
Oh man. So the new Strictly Business of Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis, formerly Chris Masters of the WWE. Um, it was weird. They did what I thought they would do, and they isolated the big guys, Jr. Kratos and Jax Dane. They did a couple of double team spots on Aaron Stevens. I mean, no, on the tag team of the Strictly Business. I didn't like the fact that all three guys were in the ring at the same time.
Hmm.
Like I've been in tag team matches where it's like, like lucha rules. You know what I mean? It should always be one person in the ring because three guys in the ring, the cohesiveness of the matches was way off. I mean, it just was.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's hard. I talked about chemistry in the match of the multi tag, multi
The beginning.
woman match, right? but this also, right? I mean, how many multi, like almost non, like there's no stakes, right? You started on a multi tag team match to begin the night. Then you did one with the women, right? Then you did one here for the actual tag team, whatever. And none of it, like, what's the point in being a tag team when all of the tag teams on your roster are competing at the same time and it's not for the actual, oh, this case there is, right? But the other instance it wasn't. So where does it fall in terms of importance, in terms of, optics for your viewer, just
It was
because the,
confusing.
right.
It to
So
me, it was like I was looking at one thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. Like I couldn't concentrate on the fact, like, and once again, the referees, like during the match, the wrong guy was in the ring, and the referee, I mean, the right guy was in the ring, and the referee was like, "No, you're the wrong guy." And I'm thinking to myself, you said, as the guy tagged, you said tag right in front
right.
of the guy who you just turned around and said was not the legal man.
Yeah, it's not good. This, yeah, unfortunately, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying this about the wrestlers themselves. In every occupation, you have a bad day, bad night. You can't get your
Mhm.
bearings together. But it, for a paying audience that is trying to see this during COVID, and they have a multitude of options in terms of wrestling, right, and for free, it's very, very strange that they had this. And by doing this multi-man, tag team championship match, it almost eradicated the importance of the very first match on the card.
Exactly.
So, like, do they get, then it's no longer a tag team. It should be like the NWA multi tag team turmoil champion or something to that effect,
They
because
should call it a
the tag,
three-way dance. Like shit.
the three-way dance, but you're making a championship out of it because it's no longer the tag teams, because you throw all of them together, stir them in a pot, stick it straight sideways, and they shoved it right up our asses.
Man, didn't even put any lube. It was crazy.
Almost a little
Um,
filler.
there it is. Man, it wasn't magically delicious either. I will tell you that. But to finish, I gotta say this though, dude. Aaron Stevens and Jr. Kratos, they do the whole gimmick where they're, how could they coexist? They don't like each other. Kratos is just a bounty hunter. He's just a guy, a killer for hire, and he just happened to become the tag team champion. And they're feeling the storyline as it's been going along. They're saying, yeah, he's the tag team champion right now, and he's only going to be the tag team champion. He's only going to be happy and help his partner as long as they're the tag team champions. And once they lose the belts, they're going to go back to hating each other, and they have no tag team cohesion. Tag team cohesion. Then they're saying the only, then Crimson and Jack Stain are having some issues too, and the only tag team in this match that are actually getting along are the team of Latimer and Chris Masters or Chris Adonis, and I don't know, it was really off, really off. But ladies and gentlemen, I gotta say, Aaron Stevens pulled it out, man. Still tag team champions, and his tag team partner Jr. Craig.
Yeah, I dig Kratos. Aaron Stevens is putting, again. You give him anything, he makes masterpieces out of it.
What's that
Starting
saying? He
upon
takes
the,
chicken shit, and makes chicken salad.
yeah, 100%. But it's not even that. It's just like he's roasting up Cornish hens and shit like that.
Right?
That shit is fancy. How well and finesse, kind of inducing that he has, his work rate. Now, but the crazy thing about, like the Kratos and Aaron Stevens connection, I almost feel like, and not to disparage, but we lost, unfortunately, Josephus,
Question mark.
aka the question mark, right? And I thought it was a very classy move with all of the flags that were kind of cascading
Oh, you saw the
down the background.
Mongolian flag, huh?
Yes, absolutely. Never forget. Just like in the UFC, the founder of Tap Out, Charles Mask Lewis from Tap Out, up until the sale, to the WME Endeavor, Charles Mask Lewis's name was basically etched on the side of the entrance door of the cage. Those are
That's
things that,
good.
again, yeah, amazing, right? I almost feel like the pairing is what we didn't get to see with Josephus question mark and Aaron Stevens, because they were teasing before they went on COVID hiatus. What ended up being COVID hiatus, kind of the similar storyline. Yes, of course they've tweaked it because of the character that J.R. Kratos portrays. Again, phenomenal guy, but I almost feel like they're having that run. It almost reminds me. Obviously, it's a lot better circumstances, but when Morrison won the title after Benoit ended up not showing up to. We all know why, right?
Yeah.
It's just like Kratos is. I don't want to say he's a placeholder. Again, phenomenal guy. Love his work in Bloodsport. Love his work in general. But yeah, but kudos to Kratos, because he was, literally at in Hawaii with his family on vacation. He took the NWA Tag Team title with him, and had to leave his family early so he can go and make the money as a tag team champion of the world. Those are the
That's what
things
you
that
gotta
are
do.
those are the things that are important to me. Wins and losses do matter. Going to the pay window, all that stuff. So I love I love it. Again, match of the night was Rosser and JTG, but this in terms of storytelling, this is it for me.
That's because this match was emotional. This match made you like dig in the crates. This match made you like, wow, man, like this is it was sad, but it was like joyful. You know what I mean? Like they did it. They did that match, in my opinion, for question mark Josephus. They did that.
Yeah.
But the match of the night that I'm very disappointed in, and before I go into this, ladies and gentlemen, please understand that I love women's wrestling for the simple fact that as a professional wrestler of almost 29 years, I've watched a lot of wrestling. I've been involved in a lot of wrestling, and I've watched a lot of good and bad wrestling. In my opinion, the booking of this match was horrible. And not because the match was horrible. Don't get me wrong. These two women went out there and they did the job. They did a good thing.
Yeah.
I did that. And overall, and I had a conversation with another person earlier today, and they tried to, sugarcoat it. But I'm like this: as a person that runs a wrestling show, that does the storylines and booking and all the other cool stuff that goes along with it, you have to look at what's more profitable for your business. What's going to get your championship out there? You know, I'm the North American champion for OIWA, and I'm also a very also a very visual person. As you can see, the belt right there. It's on a podcast that's being seen in 96,000 homes around the world, being seen everywhere. So there's your notoriety for the title. There's your um, product placement. That's a good word. Product placement. The best place to put your product to get seen, right? Now, the NWA has a deal with All Elite Wrestling, who's seen live every week for 2 hours, every week on TV. But it's also seen on YouTube, on their YouTube special, and it's seen live on pay per view in front of thousands and 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 thousands of people. So, Serena Deeb recently defended the NWA World Women's Championship live on television, live on a pay per view that 1.3 million people watched.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fucking eyes on your product. So what do? You put the NWA World Women's Champion Serena Deeb in a match with Camille for the NWA World Women's Championship. Camille, she's an awesome physical specimen. But ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this match, Serena Deeb totally out wrestled her,
Yeah.
totally outclassed her, carried her, put her on her back, and was like, "Bitch, we're taking this match to the full extent." The match went 10 minutes longer than it really should have,
Really.
and Camille wins the title after being carried for 20 minutes. She
Yeah.
was sucking wind. She can barely run. She can barely move. The spot that she hit her with the spear literally was horrible. And they put the championship on Camille. So what that says to me is that, and no, and before I go any further, congratulations, Camille. You're the NWA World Women's Champion. You're holding a championship that has lineage. Velvet McIntyre was the NWA Women's Champion. My girl Amber O'Neal, the Bullet Babe, was the NWA World Women's Champion. Jazz, in my opinion, the greatest NWA Women's Champion. You give it to Camille. Camille's a great athlete. Great athlete. Softballs, like everything that she's put her mind to, she has kicked all the ass. But now she's the NWA World Women's Champion. And the championship isn't going to be seen on TNT anymore. It isn't going to be seen on pay per view anymore. It'll be seen on Fight TV maybe once a month. So you're taking millions of views every week that gets to see Serena Deeb as the NWA Women's Champion, a woman who, the what do they call her? The woman of 1,000 holes.
Yeah.
Legit, that woman knows more wrestling than 90% of the men in the industry. She is a machine. You give the title to Camille, who isn't going to go anywhere with the title.
Okay, so I absolutely respect what you're
So
saying,
with
but
this, let me do this real quick, Adam. This is what just happened to the NWA Women's title. You see me? I'm the NWA Women's Champion.
I see what he did there. Ah,
No more
clever,
eyes on it.
clever. So, I mean, obviously, I actually think this is a lot of different things, right? So, first off, Camille, in terms of her inclusion, is almost a lighter version of, well, I mean, the original kind of version of what they're trying to do with Jade Cargill on AEW, right? I
True.
mean,
That's true.
very similar. Now, are they as bad as say Nicole Bass,
Oh my
right?
God, no,
Or a BB, right? We've had
no.
worse, we've had worse, right? The the fact of the matter is, there are. This is a long time storytelling situation. If you thought as an NWA fan watching the product that Camille, as a second to the insurance policy of the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis, the national treasure, if you thought Camille would never get a run with the title, you're I don't know
Oh,
what
that was a definite like that. That whole giving her the title thing. That was written on the wall when the match was made. Like you knew that was going to happen. My
right.
thing is, you give the championship to someone. They win the championship in a sloppy way. Um, the title isn't going to go anywhere now. No eyes are going to be on the title. And what are you going to do? You're going to have her wrestle a bunch of up and comers, beat a bunch of up and comers. Okay, great. That'll happen. That'll work. She'll get her squash match here, her squash match there. But in this industry, it's not the title that makes the person. It's the person that makes the title. She has no comment. She has no no persona. Like she doesn't have that. She has the physical tools, and she's a very attractive lady. That's it. No mic skills, no personality.
Okay. And I absolutely hear you. But we're assuming, right, that she's not going to get the prestige of going to AEW Dynamite and all the other, she's flat. No, absolutely, absolutely, point taken. But who's to say, for somebody that's greener than grass, that needs more polish and needs more work? Well, AEW is running every week. They have how many schools? They've got Cody's Nightmare Factory as well as Dustin's Rhodes Wrestling Academy, right? And those
And the
things.
Road Wrestling Academy actually does like shows. Like they do like they do like showcase shows.
Yeah, on YouTube,
Hmm.
absolutely. So go ahead and check out the Rhodes Wrestling Academy on YouTube. And it's some fun stuff, right? The fact of the matter is, I think you can't look at Camille and not think that they're not going to try and push her, right? To assume that she's not going to get similar deals as, the aforementioned Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa, I think is ludicrous. I think she goes and appears there at some capacity, even if she's, stone faced, she doesn't say anything. I don't think she's yet to actually say something on TV. I could be wrong. Don't quote me
No,
on
she
it.
hasn't.
Right. So
Well, she's done
there's
like a
that.
thing where on YouTube she's done like that road to, like like how they do like the road to, um, whatever their pay
NWA.
per view. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
She did a thing. She has a very good speaking voice, and she's very, you know, she's very she comes off as cold,
Yeah.
but that's her
Absolutely.
gimmick. And she talked about how she was in high school and how she was in college, how she was a baseball player, softball player, and a basketball star and track star, and anything she put her mind to, she became. Like the best at, and people were jealous of her because she was so great. And
Right.
she played the gimmick really good. If she got on the mic and actually talked during and cut a decent promo, like what I would do if I was running NWA Women's Division, I would legit make her sit her ass down with Pope. I would make her sit her ass down with Pope and take Pope, teach her how to be a good promo.
Yeah. But then Paige didn't say anything from us until she beat AJ Lee. Yeah. No. 100%. Cheryl, you hit the nail on the head. Right. But I feel like, look, Abaddon, right?
Hmm.
Abaddon doesn't speak, doesn't whatever, can get shit over. And yes, it's the gimmick or whatever. I just feel like Camille at some point will do some business with AEW, and it's going to be a mutually beneficial, if all the cards are right, transaction, because
I hope
Camille
so.
needs more ring time, needs to be around more veterans, right? And no disrespect to Simon Diamond or whoever is reportedly back,
He's the
eh,
booker, yeah.
right, of the NWA, but that is nothing compared to a Dean Malenko or a Arn
True.
Anderson, right? So you put
I mean, you got some great
Dustin,
hands back there. Though. You got some guys
yeah,
running the back that are amazing.
Dustin
You got,
Rhodes, Jerry Lynn,
yeah.
you know, like
Well,
so.
they NWA has Homicide, good friend of the channel, tag team partner right here. They got Homicide. They have, they have Nick Aldis. He's also working backstage with some of the talent, and to be a world heavyweight champion. They have God, what else do they have back there? The names are really Aaron Stevens is also aging a
Right.
bunch of matches backstage. So they have talent. They have guys. They have people doing that. It's like it's they have good talented people. Jazz is aging the women.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, I think it's all great. I think it's all great. But I something tells me, right, and just because of the similarities between them both, but I wouldn't be surprised the next like big pay per view, all or nothing, double all. But AEW has shitty. If you thought the NWA, like pay per view name was shitty, the AEW is consistently shitty. Like if you don't know,
WWE too. Fucking
yeah,
WrestleMania Backlash.
great balls of fire, good
Great
God,
balls of fire. That names will never look,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, but I mean, but the fact of the matter is, I think there's going to be either you do one of two things,
All for
all over
everything.
everything. I guess, right? Good job, Kevin. But no, you either have Camille and Jade Cargill as two, the collision course at the next
Oh my god.
big pay per view, right? Or you just keep, because they are so similar. You just keep them away from it. It's the retribution, but also in the same universe as Raw Underground. You keep them separate.
Oh man, you had to say retribution. Look, shout out to Russell Talks, um, Oliver Davis, and he called and I can't even get it out. Lukewarm Luke Owen. They call them the biker mice from Mars.
Oh my God!
That's their
Yes,
gimmick.
Many of the fucking
uh,
offshoot Ninja Turtles ripoffs.
exactly. Fucking
Oh,
Donatello and Michelangelo.
Jesus.
Look, before we go
Well,
any further, because I'm laughing so hard. Let's go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Professional wrestling is one of the toughest sports going today. If you ever dreamed of being a professional wrestler, then former WWE superstar and World Tag Team Champion Sir Mo of the famed tag team Men on a Mission invites you, yes, you, to join his Bumps and Bruises Academy. Now in 2 locations in Carrollton, Texas, and Sherwood, Arkansas. Allow Sir Mo and his head coach, Dante Smiley, and other coaches to get you on the road to an exciting and rewarding career. Classes forming now for your shot. Contact Sir Mo at 704-819-7312 or fill out an information questionnaire now. Don't wait, make your dreams come true today by joining the Bumps and Bruises Pro Wrestling Academy.
Hi, this is James Beard with SWE Fury, and you're watching the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast.
That's right. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. And, man, before we get into this main event, I've always been a guy that says things like the WWE has the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. The AEW has the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. AAA has the AAA World Heavyweight Champion, or the Mega Championship, whatever the fuck they call it. IWGP has the World Heavyweight Champion. But the NWA has the World's, with an S, the World's Heavyweight Champion. Like, how many fucking worlds is that a champion of? Like, you're the champion of Uranus? You're the
wow.
I mean, like, seriously, are you the champion on fucking Jupiter or Pluto? Like,
it's the universe, damn it. My
like
God, that's good shit.
in the whole show, I gotta say, the whole show, they were doing the announcing, dressed up as the ringmaster, was fucking excellent. It was excellent. The fact that he was like the world heavyweight champion, Nick Aldis, the world women's champion, the world tag team champions. I was like, finally, they realized it's only one world they can be champions of. It's annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a euphemism that of the you talk about like maybe the affluent people of St. Louis, watching the wrestling at the Chase, the affluent people of Minnesota and beyond,
Right?
they were kind of like the worlds, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's this kind of I think in 2021 the terminology because they referred to Muhammad Ali as the boxing world's heavyweight champion. It's just something of a vernacular of a time gone by. I think that, and maybe there needs to be some updating on the belt, or you just keep it the same. I don't know, but
Sweet Charlotte, the 10 pounds go, baby.
yeah, well, here's the fact of the matter is Molly Spartan, who is now featured on ICW, on the WWE or Peacock Network in North America, right? She said something in terms of her training, in terms of what makes a world champion. The folks in Britain, the indie promoters in Britain, they want you, if you're a champion there and you get outside bookings outside of the country, they want
Mm-hmm.
you to go and defend your title elsewhere, because if you do that in at least 2 or 3 countries that aren't your own, that's you basically make whole a world championship. And for whatever reason,
Huh.
here in the States, because for me, I've got kind of two distinctions in terms of what a world champion is, and I think it floats both with pro wrestling, boxing, as well as MMA, in the sense that a world championship is one of two things, right? The what I actually talked about, if a championship is defended outside of the company's respective territory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And or you also have I guess this would be three ways, right? The second is,
Another three-way title.
no, no,
I'm just messing.
there's the this company, the WWE is
This
recognizing that
company.
this is our world champion. This
Hmm.
company is recognizing, right? There don't have to be parallel worlds to have multiple world champions, right? It's just this particular company is recognizing it as their world, right? There are people that believe in the round world. There are people that believe in the flat Earth. I'm not saying one way or another, but somebody's got to govern this shit, and I think that's that, right? And then the
Goddamn AJ
third,
Styles.
yeah, Eddie Bravo too in the jiu-jitsu world and what have you. But
Flat
um,
Earthers.
yes, the third distinction, it's something that I've adopted, where is if you have people from around the world to compete for your title, that
Hmm.
makes it a world championship. That
I like that.
again, yeah, and that's it. So if you've got a Russian versus a Brazilian in a U.S. Soil, all three components make your title a world championship, in my estimation. Some people don't believe that, or what have you. They kind of kind of fall back on the previous two, but even still, right?
You know
So
what?
right,
Shane made a very good point. Not to cut you off, but it's nuts to think that all this is going to break Bruno Sammartino's record of 1,000-day title. What the hell? Can you think about that for a second? Like Bruno Sammartino has been dubbed the greatest wrestler of all time. I debate that because but 1,000 days as champion. I mean, hell, I've held the championship for more than 1,000 days, but it wasn't a world title. So being a
yeah.
world champion for 1,000 days, that's crazy.
But again, I think context, right? Because you look
Yeah.
at you look at the days and what have you. You got to remember Bruno. In his heyday, they were only running the Garden once a month, right? So he had all these, like days served as champion.
Yeah.
Did he wrestle all of those times? No,
No.
right? So that's the thing. Just because you're this day title reign and what have you doesn't necessarily mean you're defending it or what have you. It's just days that you have, right? I
Damn, Evan,
also
you just made me rethink my whole life.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But then there's the other deal where I think to rebuild the prestige of the NWA Championship, where it's fallen asunder, after Ric Flair's last title reign, I believe it was, right?
Hmm.
There's the dark days of you know the. I don't think it's necessarily dark, but of a Chris Candido and a Sabu, they weren't, in terms of what you
Yeah,
quantify. The Colorado Kid, Mike Rapata, hashtag never
they
forget.
weren't corporate champions.
Right,
They were
right,
namesakes. Yeah.
right. So, I think him having a long sustained run is good, right? And now you
I mean,
can
don't
say
get it
what you
wrong.
want,
Nick Aldis is an amazing wrestler. I mean, former TNA world champion.
right?
Like
Former
Aldis has been
former
around.
former gladiator. He was almost the male version of what the Diva Search ended up being for
Oh yeah,
TNA,
that's
right?
right.
And he's made it into his own, you know, amazing wife in Mickey James, a multiple time women's champion.
Shout
Like
out to Mickey James.
yeah, absolutely. So great dude. He also defended the world champion, and again, this is why he ticks every definition that I have and had explained to me about what makes a championship a world championship. Well, him defending it in China, right when the
Yeah.
United Wrestling Network went into China, again,
Shout out
he
to Dave
ticks
Marquez.
absolutely. So all of these three things, this makes Nick Aldis arguably the greatest and most pivotal champion of the NWA since Flair.
Wow, that is a lot of fucking praise right there, man. I mean, look, there been a lot. Okay, so there have been a lot of great NBA champions. Let's see, Cody Rhodes was an NWA World Champion. Um, Nick Aldis lost the title to him, won it back. Ric Flair was the last real NWA World Champion, I think. Sting was the last real NWA World Champion.
Yeah, Sting.
Great Muta was the NWA World Champion. Masahiro Chono. And then you got
Almighty Sheik.
the Almighty Sheik was the NWA and the AIWF World Champion at the same time. So yeah, there's a lot of guys that are world champion. I'll tell you one guy, and I had the honor and the privilege of challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in Portland, Oregon, BCW Worldwide. I got the chance to defend and to challenge for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for my family and friends. One of probably the best moments of my wrestling career. I came within literally an eyelash of beating Tim Storm for the NWA World title. And Tim Storm was on commentary tonight. Tim Storm is one of the most amazing fucking men in and out of the ring. Like he's an amazing guy, and I think that even Tim Storm was a damn good NWA World Champion. The guy that Jax Dane was NWA World Champion. No one remembers that. No one remembers that.
Yeah. Oh no. You know what? I'm also gonna put Storm as one of that. You know, it's a 1B, 1A, 1B, right? Because the whole 10 pounds of gold series. That's how a lot of people rediscovered their love for NWA, and for a generation that were born after the heyday of the NWA. This is their NWA. You know. Yep. The Almighty Sheik. You know.
That's right. We talked about Sheik
of
MLW.
So I just, I dig where it's going. I love that, former protege of the one, you talk about great NWA champions, look no further than the king of sports.
The legendary Harley Race. That's right. They talk about that a lot.
Yes, I'm the biggest. I've got 3 Harley Race t-shirts in my repertoire of stuff. I have his autograph, copy of his book, King of the Ring. He's just amazing, but you have Trevor Murdoch, former WWF Tag Team Champion.
That's right.
You're right, and again,
Landscape.
right, and protege of the great Harley Race, contending for the NWA title.
He was actually the last official trainee of Harley Race. So
wasn't all
that's why
as well.
Yeah, him and all this. Yeah, like that's why this match was so fucking like. Like the builds up to the match. Like I look at the builds up to the match, and you can look at it as like the match earlier we talked about with Rosser and JTG, how that was for Shad. Well, this main event for the NWA World Title was, in my opinion, a fucking Harley Race match. Both of those guys, proteges, students of Harley Race, they did it for Harley. Earlier we talked about the referees and their stupidity. Now, I'm going to let you talk about this match a little bit because I know you are excited about Harley Race's students, but the end of the match is what I want to discuss, because as a professional wrestler, I've done some stupid shit during matches, and referees have caught me doing stupid shit during matches. But this fucking referee, like, I got nothing.
Yeah,
I literally was like, I just threw my hands up and you're like, yeah, okay, that happened.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's everything that we were excited about for this match, and they managed to take the ever living piss out of it. They're just like, you could have had an amazing, like, it's almost like they had one of the many things that make Harley Race great is you don't get a Dusty Rhodes, and B, a Ric Flair without Harley Race. He's the two that basically legitimize both of two of arguably the greatest, products that wrestling has ever, basically
and ladies and gentlemen,
exported.
Adam is talking about the NWA version of Harley Race, not the WWF Handsome King Harley Race gimmick. He's talking about like when Harley Race was doing the most, like with the NWA, not the WWE version. So if all you know is King Harley Race from the WWE, Adam is about to give you a lesson. And Adam is my
Yes.
historian. He knows a lot of shit.
Oh god, just so man, you talk about Handsome Harley Race, the tag team that he had with Larry the Axe Hennig. Yes,
Hmm.
Hennig, if that make it sounds familiar to you, that is the father of the great Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, right? And Harley Race was a young man teaming with Larry the Axe Hennig, just I mean doing all types of shit in the old school AWA. Just incredible stuff. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of tape from that era, but they drew money. They drew
I grew
money.
up watching that shit, man.
Yes, they
The
drew
Greg
money.
Gagne's, the Jim Brunel's,
Yes,
yeah, man. Yeah, it was.
one of the greatest of all time. And for me, I think with all of both champion and challenger with so close ties to Harley, the last time that we saw Harley on TV before his untimely passing was him basically talking to his student, the now NWA World Champion Nick Aldis, and that was the last time any of us saw Harley Race before he passed away. So it's a very special moment, and they had a very with all of the kind of hubbub that happened earlier in the card, they had a chance to make it right. Like all of the ingredients were there, right? And if you're a cook, right? If you're a cooker, if you're a baker, how important the directions. It's not just
The
the ingredients,
ingredients. Hmm.
but the direction of how you put this, right? If you mix it, in whipping the eggs, how there's a different consistency, all of these things that make a great cake, a dish, what have you, right? The ingredients were there. It's just, it seemed like it was it was the direction, right? Because
Yes.
they tried to do a Dusty finish without Dusty, without Harley, right? And anytime you do a facsimile, and again, none of the people, nothing against Homicide, nothing against Simon Diamond, Jax, whoever's backstage, Billy Corgan, what have you, but you don't have anybody there. You've seen people that have maybe seen or bear witness to what a Dusty finish is, but they
I've done the Dusty finish.
right, but they didn't sit at the table with the man who created it, right? And
Exactly.
anytime that you get a facsimile, you copy a paper, the copy once you get 5 6 down the road, it loses its legibility, right?
Yeah.
It gets
Legitimacy.
murky. It gets murky.
Hmm.
It's illegible, and that's what this match was, right? And for a $20 price point, and as a champion, and most people say he's, Nick Aldis is a great wrestler. I'm not saying that he isn't, but you had an amazing. Harley versus Johnny Valentine is my favorite. Yes, dude. Even the one there's a match with CV, a New Zealand guy. When Jim Barnett was running New Zealand, right? Just a New Zealand job guy, and he takes it's a beautiful 18 minute, like 18, not even 18, maybe an 8 to 10 minute match, and it just shows you how great Harley is, like amazing. But again, you had a moment where you could really legitimize the not just the NWA, not just the pay per view, but the NWA title, right? With all of the bad things that surrounded the NWA of the last year and
Yeah,
the
this was a
capture,
redemption show.
right? The capture some of the magic that was lost with the momentum that they had with the NWA Powrrr and the 10 pounds of gold leading up to that, and unfortunately, as great as both Trevor and Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis is, I don't know if it was them, the booking, but this almost reminded me a bit of like Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles, but
Oh my God.
At Mania, right? It
I
just failed,
hated that because there was so
right?
much build up and you were so excited to see that. Like, dude, we were like, they're gonna have a fucking New Japan match. It's gonna be amazing. Those guys had killer fucking matches in New Japan. It was like and it was like a 5-star classic every time they wrestled in New Japan. and then it was a 1.5 star match at WrestleMania. It was horrible. This match
Yeah.
had so much build up, like you said. There was so much riding on it. Like I mean, even with the fucking, even when when all this was to do something, and no, he went for a clothesline, and Trevor ducked it, turned around, gave him the fucking Dusty Rose elbow, and I popped hard. I was like, wow, he just hit the big Dusty elbow on him. I said, they're gonna do a Dusty finish. I fucking know it. And then Latimer comes out of nowhere with a chair. Latimer fucking hits the referee turns around and looks right at him, like I'm looking right at you. Like everyone watching this podcast, guess what? He's looking at him like I am looking right at him, like I'm looking right into your fucking eyes. And he hits the referee with the chair. Ref goes down. He hits fucking Murdoch with the chair. Hits him again. Hits him again. Right? Finally, he drops the elbow on Murdoch. Boom, one elbow. He climbs to the top rope. Drops another elbow. He misses the second elbow. Murdoch picks up the chair and fucking gives the biggest receipt. It was like whack. He fucking laid him just crack with the back of that chair on his back. And as he turns to go for the cover, he says no. He puts on the fucking finisher, the King's Lynn Cloverleaf. This is finisher. He hits the finisher on him. He's grinding it in. Everyone's so excited. He's fucking grinding it in. The crowd is popping. He's about to become the world champion. He taps as the referee gets up, and the referee looks and sees him, and rings the bell. And the announcer, even the announcer was confused. He was like, "The winner," and the referee's like, "No, no, 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 no. The winner is Nick Aldis." And I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like legit, you saw him with the chair hit you.
Yeah.
And it was so bad that me and you talked about this before we went live. I was down on Velvet Sky because her commentary was horrible. My notes said Velvet Sky is the drizzling shits. Like that was my commentary from her. But now that we've talked about it, I can see why she was so like, I'm speechless. Like I'm standing here, like we're on our feet. Like I'm on my feet, and I'm speechless. I'm on my feet, and my heart goes out to Trevor Murdoch. He was, and then Tim Storm was like, yeah, and Joe Galli was like, this guy just got screwed. Joe Galli is a fucking amazing commentator, by the way. He's also a newsman too, but amazing commentator. Joe Galli is fucking. He has that Tom Phillips appeal. He has that Tom Phillips appeal, but they were so upset, and it threw the commentary off because I don't know if they were working or if they were shooting. Ladies and gentlemen, that means if they were real. I don't know if they were working hard, like working the whole thing, or if they were like really pissed. But it was like she was so like she didn't know what the fuck to say. Like she just kept saying the same thing over and over again because she was like in shock. And then Joe Galli stands up, and Trevor Murdoch walks over to the commentary. No, the guy who's dressed up as the ringmaster, which is totally fucking over with me. I loved it. He walks over to him, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I let you guys down. You can see that I got cheated. You can see that this guy cheated me, and he did this, and I'm ashamed. I'm sad about this. And what was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do? Right?" And I'm sitting back thinking to myself, this is the worst way to finish a pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Like, if I have to give this pay-per-view a 5 stars review, I'm giving it 1.5. Because this was the worst way to end the pay-per-view. Normally, when the heel goes over the face, you want to send the people home with a smile.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether he was going to fucking cry or what, because it was so sad. Like he walked over he just walked over and he was like, "Well, I tried my best, and I just couldn't do it. Like you saw what was going on. You saw they did. I should have won that match, and yeah, you should have won that match. But even if you didn't win the match, let the face go home. Let him get his heat back."
Yeah.
He totally got buried at the end of that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and again, who do we have another contender for Nick Aldis? You kind of just blew this off, or you it just blew off Trevor Murdoch's kind of chances, at ever trying to contend for an NWA title again. And it's weird. It's so weird. Also, not to say I'm expecting, a Lou Thez type NWA title match, or a, Dory Funk Jr. Hell, even a early pre ECW, pre FMW Terry Funk. Am I expecting all of that? No. But what's the point of saying about, Nick Aldis's auspicious, title reign, right? But then also
Exactly.
not give you like the type of match that you would expect out of an NWA champion. And if you don't know what to expect, it's stuff that you heard about as a kid, of Ric Flair's and the Harley Race and the Briscoes, the Funks, like that. And again, they didn't do that here because look, the WWE just had an Iron Man match. I mean, Impact, right? You say you can't
TJP
wrestle that.
versus Josh Alexander.
Yep, friends of this very
Friends of the
podcast,
channel.
right?
Yep, personal friends
Absolutely.
actually.
Yeah. So you can't tell me that those type of matches and that was done over an X Division title. You mean you can't do that for an NWA pay per view that people paid $20 for? What are we doing?
Man, crazy.
I paid $20.
Where's my money?
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of in terms of an entertainment aspect of all of this, right? What is the credo of a entertainer? Is you always want the audience wanting more, right? Not just giving them just a taste of what's to come. I don't think at this point I'm ever gonna until something drastically changes. Don't think I'm buying another NWA pay per view.
Yeah,
I
and it sucks because it could have been so much better. You know, you.
absolutely,
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is this, ladies and gentlemen, the product, the NWA product has always been. I mean, great. Like I'm an NWA guy. Like I grew up wanting to be an NWA guy, and now I'm gonna apply those lessons I learned in how to be a professional wrestler to the OIWA. The NWA product was an amazing product 5 years ago. And I'm going to tell you, me and a bunch of other NWA affiliate groups sat in a hotel room, conference room in Las Vegas, Nevada at Cauliflower Alley. Bruce Starr walked into the room, put a laptop down on the table, and says, "Ladies and gentlemen of the NWA, I'd like to introduce you to your new owner, Miss Billy Corgan." And he turns the laptop around, and Billy Corgan is there. Billy is very nice and very down to earth and kind. Great guy. He says, "Thank you very much for being part of the NWA. I'm going to introduce you to my partner, the vice president of the NWA, and I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's a scumbag piece of shit." So that partner comes into the room, says, "You guys have until December 31st to relinquish all likes, logos, trademarks, championship belts, everything with the NWA. We are no longer going to become an affiliate group. Thank you very much. Have a good day." And he walks out. Like, wow. Like, okay. So I know for a fact BCW Worldwide spent thousands of dollars on NWA products. So we're like, we want our fucking money back. You know? So subsequently, the Speaking Out movement got rid of that asshole. So he's no longer involved in professional wrestling. But the NWA name was tarnished. They took a hiatus. They came back, and they did a pay per view called Back for the Attack. So they did Back for the Attack, and it was a pretty good NWA show. I liked it. And then the NWA champions were spotlighted on other shows. Like Nick Aldis had defended the NWA World Title at AEW's Double or Nothing or AEW's All Out or All In, the very first big show. Cody Rhodes, the lineage of the NWA Championship runs through the Rhodes family, and Cody was the NWA World Champion. Lost it back to Nick Aldis, so that gave the title some credibility.
Right.
And then, as we said earlier on the podcast, the NWA World Women's Champion at the time, Serena Deeb, had been spotlighted on AEW television shows
Right.
and pay-per-views. So it was getting the name of the NWA title. Like when Thunder Rosa was the champion, she was defending the title on AEW as well. So that name of the title, that lineage was getting shown, I thought, but in front of millions of people.
Yes.
So they were on the right track. And look, Petro said the same thing. We did fucking hard work for them. That is true. We sure did. We bled buckets for the NWA. But now we can do it for the OIWA. We can make that product better. Just saying. But the point is, the way this pay-per-view ended sets the NWA back. The things that happened in this pay-per-view, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. It's not Adam Wood's opinion. It is not those of the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. These are my opinions and my opinions alone. I think they set the NWA back.
Yeah.
No, Wednesday night, live here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast, I have my one of my best friends in the industry, tag team partner, the Church's Money Black G's, who actually debuted for NWA Powrrr, which is their YouTube show, or their Fight TV show. So, I will have him on the show Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tune in, and you can hear what he has to say about the NWA. But I personally think that this show, in my opinion, if I had to rate it 1 out of 5 stars, I'm going to give it a 1.25. Because that Pope match was, the commentary was great on that match. Pope's promos were great, so you got to give Pope his due. And that JTG fucking Fred Rosser match, yeah, that's my 4.25 star match right there.
Yeah, and that's it. Again, not to disparage, any of the talented workers that are on this card. But Fred Rosser and JTG, that's what I like in wrestling. So if you like wrestling like I like wrestling, go ahead and check that match out, and that alone is worth the price of admission.
Exactly.
There's a lot of hiccups there, a lot of things to improve, right? But again, you also can't assume that wrestling, like you're the only thing in town, because right now we had the combat jiu-jitsu, Eddie Barber's combat jiu-jitsu taking place on Mexico live on UFC Fight Pass. You have the Logan Paul
Mayweather fight is on right now.
Right, absolutely. So again, those are things that you had to have in contention, and you put this was your best effort. NWA, I think you could do better. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your boy Adam Woods there. I'm the franchise Double B Bad Blood. Thank you for joining us one more time here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast Special Edition. It's always great to have Adam Woods here. Adam, you can find him on According to Woods on YouTube. He does a lot of good shit. Just saying, Adam Woods is the man. If you ever want to watch Adam Woods, you can go to his YouTube channel. You can find him on Twitter. What's your Twitter, Adam?
It's Adam K. Woods, but if you put in According to Woods, you'll find me there as well. But it's Adam K. Woods, but everything else is According to Woods. Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, all of it.
Go follow them, ladies and gentlemen, and check it out. If you want to support the channel, you can go to anchor.fm/roundtable podcast/support, because trust me, we need all the support we can get, ladies and gentlemen. If you're on Twitter, you can find us on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast on the Twitter machine. If you're here in Portland, Oregon, you can watch us on TV. Xfinity TV, every Monday night, 10 p.m., Channel 11, and Channel 22 on Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Wednesday, you can find us at 9 p.m. on Channel 23, Xfinity, and Channel 8003 on CenturyLink TV. You can find us on 8002 on CenturyLink TV as well. Man, we are just everywhere. I'm telling you, we are doing the most. And you know the great thing about the podcast, if you can't watch the podcast and you're just at home and you're like, all right, listen, you're at work and you want to listen to it, you can find us on Apple. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and all other major platforms. Just log on and find the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again. See ya.